of flock cameras. Yeah, I hadn't heard of them until this past week, so I did a little digging, and it turns out that flock cameras are part of this thing called flock safety, which is basically a network of AI powered automated license plate readers. And these are cameras that are essentially used by police, businesses, neighborhoods. There's a lot of different companies basically using these, and they essentially capture still images of passing vehicles to log the license plates. It also logs like the vehicle make, the color, different unique features and all that. And it is supposed to be used to generate leads for law enforcement to solve crimes. And unlike, the red light speed cameras, they don't issue tickets or anything like that. They more so act as a witness, taking photos and then using AI to analyze the details. Now, tell this to your average US citizen and they'll be like, oh yeah, great. It'll, make it easier to catch criminals. And as always, they'll be like, oh, well, if you just, don't break the law, you shouldn't be worried. This won't impact you. But unfortunately, that is not the fucking case as always. Last week, a woman essentially got accused of package theft. So shouts out to Yahoo News who covered it. Chrisanna Esler got a summons from Columbine Valley Police accusing her of stealing a package. And the evidence was, again, the flock camera that placed her truck near the scene of the crime. The problem is, she wasn't there. And according to Deverite, Esler had to dig up her own time-stamp truck video and a neighborhood's doorbell camera footage to prove it. Nobody verified the camera's implication before the summons landed. The camera spoke, the system listened, and no further questions were asked. So again, that is the problem with some of this technology, and this technology that is being led by AI. AI saw some shit, accused some shit, and then this woman was about to get in trouble until she had to be her own fucking lawyer and go dig up records from other places to be like, no, AI is incorrect. I wasn't there. As I mentioned, Flock Safety operates this network, ALPR, which is automated license plate readers, and they capture point-in-time images of plates in public roads. But as I had mentioned, essentially what she had to do was gather her own evidence, which was a timestamp video from her truck and a neighbor's doorbell camera, and the evidence essentially showed that she was not at the scene during that time and place. So after she was able to provide all this information, the police voided the summons, and they kind of went from there. But again, I always kind of bring this up. For one, laws are just, things on a piece of paper. Things that were legal today may be illegal tomorrow, and things that are illegal tomorrow may be, legal the day after that. And this is a bit of the challenge of us moving into this technology space where there is technology essentially everywhere. There's cameras everywhere. And it's one thing if you have a human on one side that's actually analyzing the data, putting stuff together, and then saying, oh, hey, this is what's going on. The problem is when it comes to AI and the software recognition. We have seen this time and time again with a lot of different technology, how that impacts Black people. I know as a Black man, every time I go to a restroom somewhere and I put my hands under the sensor, it can't always recognize my black skin to then turn on the sink. And that is because 99 times out of 100, this technology is tested on Caucasian people, and then it's kind of released out into the public. And so there's that I don't want to call it bias, but it's that flaw in the engineering of the technology. And that is the thing at the end of the day with all of this technology, it's still flawed. It's created by humans. All humans have some type of implicit bias that then unfortunately, kind of funnels into the technology you create, whether you realize it or not. Then we roll out this AI across the entire country, and then law enforcement, like in this situation, then use that AI as gospel. And then you have situations like this where if that woman did not have all that footage, she would have been wrongfully accused and possibly prosecuted as a fucking package thief. It's fucking insane. And so if you actually, it's interesting too, because if you do a Google search about this product, you will find all kinds of articles as looking around. There are articles about essentially, a lot of different people being improperly misidentified and, harassed by cops based off of these mistakes. There are also stories about a Georgia deputy who's been charged with using the flock camera to personally track license plates. And currently there are 2 officers in Milwaukee who have been charged with stalking people using this technology. So I am glad to start to see there are some citizens who are fighting back, and there's quite a few different stories about people in Houston cutting down these cameras due to privacy concerns. There was a Air Force engineer that was accused of cutting down 13 of these cameras, and basically he was like, hey, this is unconstitutional, I'm taking these shits down. And so there's a lot of people fighting back, and I always say that, this is the important part, and this is the challenge with the algorithm and us just trusting what pops up on our feed and not doing our due diligence to look further into it. There are, I guarantee, a bunch of people out there who they're scrolling their feed and they're seeing all this stuff about these, these criminal people cutting down flock cameras, and oh my God, they're destroying personal property, and oh my God, they're interfering with the law. This must be Antifa. But again, if you do your due diligence and look a little further, you will start to see that there's a bunch of people getting prosecuted and summons and harassed nonstop by cops for things that they did not commit. And this becomes then the challenge in society. Do we continue to allow all of this surveillance to go out and for AI to guess who the fuck did the crime? Or do we as citizens start to fight back and be like, hey, we need to do something about this? And quite frankly, I am always on the side of the people.